All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. This is a special version of the recent runners. I'm curious to see how this does. Instead of the runners that are going up, we're actually going to focus on two of the worst of the day, okay? SECO and VERU, okay? Look, obviously it's really important to look at stocks that go up, but you can make some really good moves on a chart that looks like, if you watch my videos, you know I love red, 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 red. I mean, not even a single green in that. I love that, okay? This tells me one day it's going to go green, 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 okay? I'm not necessarily saying tomorrow. We'll go over the details shortly, but this thing can either do a bottom feeder swing, or literally do a real nice recovery, okay? And we'll talk about more of the details shortly, but real quick, what are we gonna do? Look, same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how things are setting up. We have our 5 moving averages. This is the first time I'm covering this one, so I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like and subscribe, it does really well with the YouTube algorithms. But even if you don't, thank you so much for watching these, okay? And then if you disagree with anything, please throw it in the comments. I'm not here pretending to be all-knowing and perfect, and if your opinions are better than mine, believe me, I want to know, okay? With that, let's talk about SECO. So look, we see a lot of charts that do something like this on the normal version of the recent runner, right? This thing went from $1 something all the way to 3 something. That's monstrous, monstrous, okay? And what does it do? It gives you one big volume. It makes you a crazy RSI. It gives you a beautiful MACD. I mean, obviously, that's huge. Does not sustain. We don't get the confirmation that we want. Like, it literally never goes over that line, what it was opened at, okay? And yeah, I mean, this really could have been avoided because why? Bad things happen under the 8. Things get horrible once you're under the 8 and the 20, right? And then obviously if you're under all the lines, it happens right there. And then once you lose this line that we're obviously going to draw right there, right? I mean, there was a lot of reason to know that this was going to go out. Look at how ugly that MACD is. Look at how ugly that RSI is. All that said, why are we covering this? What I talked about in the beginning. Look, one day red, 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 red will turn into green, 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 green. And you know, it's worth knowing that, okay? And you know what? Some people might do what I call a bottom feeder swing, okay? Oftentimes when you're sitting below a 30 on an RSI, that gives reason that, hey, it might be time for this thing to turn around. If you just zooming out a bit, right, this is actually kind of the lowest it's been. It's been around a 20 RSI, so maybe it'll go a little bit lower, but yeah, this thing might at least get some sort of recovery. And look, recovery could look like a couple things. It could come up to here. No, maybe down there. We're going to use that line right there. It could come to there. All right. It could come up to maybe 50% of this candle. We'll roughly call it, yeah, maybe a little lower than that. Maybe like literally a penny. I'm not going to lower it a penny. We'll take it to 20 at least, something like that. Is that too low? Yeah, that's really dumb. I'm sorry. I wasted your time right there. So that was right. Maybe 50% candle of this guy. Obviously, if we keep going down, I'm not going to draw that, right? But look, there's not a lot of good here. Obviously, that's still bad. Obviously, that's still bad. But I wouldn't mind knowing, I think that might be the alert. I'm going to go to the weekly just to see what this thing looks like. Oh, man. My. A lot of pain. You know, I'm going to draw another line because this right here is definitely a really important one. Obviously, we're real far from 480, but break 480 and there's a lot of reason to believe this thing is going to come to 20, 25. Jesus, only this thing right here at 8, maybe this thing right here at 12, and then this thing at 17. But Jesus, that I'm going to go ahead and set an alert. I'm going to set an alert here. And it's funny, this one's not going to happen for a long time. And like all of a sudden I'm going to get a random, oh, what was this stock? I'm going to set it at 484, 1 penny over that. Look, an alert is not immediate buy. It's a come check it out. But yeah, I for sure want to know if we get over that. Immediately though, again, I'm not even going to draw any of these because it's going to come right into this. But, oh man, what's that line? I guess let me see that. I'll put that there just to have it on the weekly. But again, we're so far from all of it, right? At this point, look, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of pain happening, and I think it still might go a little bit lower, just because again, we've seen the RSI go as low as 20-ish. Not that long. Look, this one's a 19 right here, right? So yeah, it's definitely lived in that single digit 20 before it made a recovery. Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, this thing might have a little bit of a recovery. And honestly, it would be interesting to know. I'll at least set an alert for 103, a couple cents over where we were. Hey, if it's going to go up, I wouldn't mind knowing. But yeah, I don't think it's going to go up on Monday. It might go up a little bit after. Again, ugly, just ugly drop. That's a horrible weekly, right? It definitely wanted to do good things, gapping up over 3, not good confirmation. And yeah, it's this one almost doesn't count, right? I would not call that a good one. That's kind of your first one. That's the bad confirmation. And then obviously it just gets incredibly worse. Like, I would have never guessed that. Believe me, this is hard to just guess. I'm assuming some bad news happened, but really this I don't think was real, whatever this was. And that's just kind of the punishment for it, right? It just unfortunately happened in a place where it loses all the moving averages and that key support right there. But yeah, tough stock here for sure. All right, so the next stock we're going to cover, I'll be honest, look, you can see I have lines on this thing and I've never covered this one on the videos. I'm going to go ahead and delete all these ones. I try to be really impartial when I cover a stock. In all honesty, I have a very, what happened to my drawing? Delete. I have a very special place in my heart for VERU. I don't know why these aren't deleting. That's annoying. This is probably one of the first stocks that I made some really good money on once I learned technical analysis. I actually also really like the story. I love that they were trying to be this like the company for men's prostate health. You know, it was such a beautiful cause. I actually knew someone personally that had prostate cancer, knock on wood, survived. And, you know, it was this beautiful story about this company. And then they fall into this, you know, COVID solution world. And man, it got really ugly for VERU after that happened. But I'm telling you, I had a very special place in my heart for the stock for a long time, okay? That said, look, again, this is a recent runner, but it's just running the wrong way, right? I mean, a 35 up and a 35 down, they're both runners. They are, okay? What happened? Look, I mean, I'm obviously going to redraw some lines, but this thing has been trading under the 8 for a good while, under the 20 for a good while. So, I mean, a lot of not good. Obvious, I don't do a lot of pharma stocks because this was very much a rejection notice, right? If this thing got approved, it probably actually would have gone plus 60, plus 70. Instead, you go minus 35. You know what I mean? It's just the baseball swings of an FDA approval and a rejection are just, they're gut-wrenching, okay? Why are we covering this? Look, same reason we're covering the other one. This gap right here one day will fill. Okay, that gap right there one day will fill, right? It came close to wanting to, never actually really that close. I thought that was a little bit closer, but that one day will fill. This one day will fill. That little thing will fill, right? Like, bad turns into good once things are ready, okay? This thing has had nasty RSI. This thing's had an RSI of 4. Geez, 6, 4, 8. Okay, this thing's had single digits before, and this 21, the way that it's slanted down, the way that that's slanted down, yeah, I do believe there's still a little bit more pain here, okay? Again, though, this should recover, but I think the RSI is still saying I've got a little bit lower to go, okay? And look, when I say recover, do I believe we're going to start breaking moving averages? No. But hey, we might make some decent moves. I definitely would like to know. I'll kind of set it right here. I think that's a little too high. Let's set it at let's set it at 245. Why not? I'd like to know if it's going up. I still think it's going down, but yeah, if it goes up, there's definitely gap fill plays to have. You know what I mean? Especially if you can get over the wick right there. But again, I think it's going to come down a bit. We just saw that it had some pretty low RSIs not that long ago. And yeah, maybe if the RSI gets a little closer to that like single digit realm, maybe that like 15, 12, 10, maybe that's when we'll start to believe that there's going to be a recovery. But Yeah, just super, super sad. And really, this goes with two things. One, why I'm no longer a long trader. Like that, what used to be a beautiful story of a men's health company just, turns into this COVID meme story that fails. Super sad, right? Like, come on, just stick to the program, right? That's what you guys had your investors on. Look, the line that I just drew perfectly lines up with the 200. This is a very important line right here for sure. Clearly, we're very far from it, but that's a huge line. That's six something right there. um Man, there's a bunch of bad happening here. It really sucks. Look, again, if it goes up, maybe we'll make a little bit of a recovery. Do I think we're going to get over the 8 anytime soon? I don't. But maybe there's a little bit of life here. This was a sad video for me to make, I'll be honest with you. I felt like I talked more about passion than I did about technicals here. But let's see how the bottom feeder runners do. I'm curious to actually see it. Hey, have a great one. I appreciate your time.